And he said, that's it, I've called time on my career, and he walked away. Who was surprised that he didn't come back with that final little surprise? Well, here it is. It's one big surprise, and it is the world hour record. Well, I hope you're going to, wherever you are, will this man on as he now tries to set this standard. He comes onto the track to an enormous reception. All these fans have been queuing here for the last few hours, waiting to get into this Grenchen Vélodrome. The atmosphere is electric. One last big, deep breath. The standard to beat, 49.7 kilometres, which was set on the 7th of May by Sosenka. Previously to that, Chris Boardman's distance, 49.441, and Eddie Merckx in 1972, 49.431. But the standard now means that Jens Voigt needs to ride 199 laps at least to take the hour record. Well, there's no doubt that this man has caught the imagination of fans across the world in a career spanning since 1997. He doesn't choose to spend his birthday in the most calm and relaxed way possible. It was his 43rd birthday yesterday. He's choosing here to celebrate his birthday by walking away from the sport of cycling as the world hour record holder. As he sits up now and gets himself ready. 10 seconds to go. Look for the times, look for the splits. This man needs to ride 199 plus laps. Jens Voigt is now underway. He'll open up with a 24-second lap approximately, and then from there he will have to be riding 18-second laps all the time. And there we are, as we clock 23.574 for his opening 250 metres. Now, I talked to Jens earlier on. He was having his lunch 4 hours ago, and he sat down with me and he said, come over, just sit down, let's share a little bit of time, and you can get all the information you need for your commentary today, which was fantastic. And so he sat down and he gave me all the background to exactly what has been going on around the last build-up to this hour record. And he said, really, when he saw the rule changes back in May, he then thought, right, I can have a go at that, as he opens up with a 1:15.491 for the first 1,000 metres on the track. And he is, if it shows you there on the right-hand side green, he is ahead of the schedule. So he said back in, when he was looking at the hour record, when the rules changed, he said, right, that's possible. So just before the Dauphiné, he went into the Roubaix Vélodrome. He did some testing to find out whether it was actually possible for him to beat this record. And he came away from that thinking, yep, this is very, very possible. So he got himself onto the program as far as developing the bike and thinking about everything was concerned. And since May, this has been a definite plan of his to try and beat this world hour record. Interestingly, he said that one of the things that he had to do was to talk to Fabian Cancellara about the fact that he wanted to try and beat this record. And of course, when we launched the Track Factory Racing team back in earlier on in the year, which was in the Roubaix Vélodrome, interestingly, I asked Fabian, because I was lucky enough to be the commentator that day, the speaker of that massive event with 1,500 fans in the Roubaix Vélodrome. I asked Fabian all about the world hour record that day, and he was very non-committal about it. He said it was a project that he definitely wanted to have a look at. But Jens today said, yep, I had to talk to Fabian. I wanted to make sure that he was absolutely happy with me going for the world hour record, and therefore sorted all that out with him. And then we got on with the project to make sure that everything would happen and everything would be working. So as we see Jens just getting through his first 3,000 metres, he is at 50 kilometres an hour. The record, of course, 49.7 kilometres an hour. Down on the right-hand side of the screen, you could see the green timing, which shows what sort of distance, what sort of time Jens is ahead of the hour record schedule. So we're coming up to the first key point, which is the 5 kilometre point. And it's great to welcome me now into the commentary box. The president of the UCI alongside me now. A very warm welcome to Brian Cookson. Brian, great to see you here.
Thank you, Anthony. Great to be here.
Very early stages then of Jens' hour record attempt.
Yep.
Take me back. The world hour record really has been ignited by the rule change. And Jens this morning, when he talked to me this afternoon at lunch, he was having his pasta and his tomato sauce and cheese. That's what he had for his last supper before the hour record. He said he read that rule change and he suddenly thought, that's it, I can do that hour record. So what was the thinking behind the rule change? Was it to reignite the interest in this blue ribboned event?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what we hoped would happen. Jens is a rider of huge stature, great reputation, and at a point in his career where a new challenge like this is going to put a final crowning on his career if all goes well. We looked at the rules and the history of the hour record. There was a lot of development, a lot of attacks and attempts during the late 1990s, for instance. We saw some fantastic, exciting riding there. The technology changed and was challenging all of the time there. We went from the perhaps the Francesco Moser type of era through Graham O'Brien with his novel approach to things, then on to Chris Boardman, all of which was fantastic. With the Superman position, again, that was an O'Brien innovation, and the record going further and further into the distance. At that point, then there was a bit of a hiatus, and at the time then. Someone, I think it was probably Chris and his manager, came up with the idea of the athlete's hour based on doing the hour record on a bike similar to that used by Eddie Merckx before kind of aerodynamic bikes began to be developed and so on. So that was a good idea at the time, but I think it was an idea that became somewhat past its sell-by date. Nobody had gone for the record since Sosenka back in 2005, and so things had got pretty much stagnant, and there was a massive lack here and a huge amount of potential for this record to be brought off the shelf and into the modern era. So we looked at the rules and we said, well, why on earth have we done this? Why don't we just simply say that a rider can ride on a bike that is acceptable under the individual pursuit rules or team pursuit rules, and pretty similar to the rules for the road time trial as well. So that obviously has brought it all into line, and I think that's an absolutely essential thing to have done. And the other thing we've done is said that we need to make sure that anyone going for the record is part of the athlete biological passport, so that we can all have confidence in the integrity of their performance. And I'm absolutely convinced that that has been the right thing to do, and that we're going to see something absolutely special this evening.
But he's already into his 1 hour so far. Just to update you whilst we talk, he's just gone through the 5 kilometre split in 6:00.954. The split of Chris Boardman in 2000 was 6:00.016, so he's well ahead of Boardman at the moment. He's, in terms of Eddie Merckx's record, in 1972, Merckx went through the 5K in 5:55.7. And talking to Jens at lunchtime, he said, what I've got to have in my head is making sure I don't go out and ride too hard, because everyone knows that Merckx in 72 rode the first 5, 10, 15, 20k flat out and then really suffered later.
Yeah.
Whereas Boardman, I can't remember whether you were there when Chris set
I
his hour records.
I was at both of them, yeah.
So you know Chris rode much more steady, but he's 4 seconds ahead of Boardman in 2000, which is pretty impressive so far.
That's good going, a good start, and Jens knows very well that he will have to judge his effort over the full distance to be successful. You know, as I said, I was at both of Chris Boardman's records, each of them incredibly special in their own right, and huge enthusiasm from the crowd helped him along. In the Superman position 1, he was going further and further ahead all the time, which just sent the crowd wild, as you may remember. But in the Athlete's Hour record, when he was on the Eddie Merckx style bike, he was only just ahead of the record the whole of the way, which in turn sent the crowd wild for different reasons. And each of them were very, very exhausting efforts. Absolutely a superb athlete at the peak of his powers, and I think we're seeing that again this evening. Remarkably, I can very well recall that after Chris finished he was hardly able to walk, and I think I wish Jens all the best, and I hope he's in good condition after. But he doesn't have to worry what his next race is now, because I guess this is going to be his swan song.
That's it. 43 years of age, an incredible career. I guess it is the sort of record that we've generally seen the older riders go for. But what a way to finish a career.
Absolutely. It's, you know, the stars have come into alignment here, haven't they? It's a new record in effect, and it's great that we can do it in this way.
One final question,
because I think 10 minutes now. How do you rate his performance so far?
Talk to you later on.
After 10 minutes, I can
but what's the situation with other records? Do you want to see this now? Many more people trying to break this record.
Absolutely. I think this is going to be the first of a whole raft of riders who are going to come through.
How difficult is it for him to control his pace?
I think we can see, we can all probably name 3, 4, 5 riders who we'd like to see go for it. Bradley Wiggins, for instance, Taylor Phinney, Tony Martin, Fabian Cancellara. But I think there's a whole raft of others who could have a good shot at it as well, and I want to encourage them to do so, because this is something special. The magic hour, they used to call it in the days of Anquetil and Coppi and Riviere and so on, and I think we can have a new magic hour era.
I think it'll be fantastic.
How surprised were you when you heard about him at the end of the career? He tries to break the hour record.
This hour record.
For me, it was a big surprise.
Are you coming back to join us later, or are you just going to enjoy it in the centre?
I'm happy to come back and talk to you later, whatever you wish.
Okay. Thanks, Brian Cookson, who is here to enjoy the hour record and see whether Jens Voigt can set now the standard. He's 10 seconds ahead. And thank you very much to Brian Cookson for taking the time to join us up here in the commentary box.
This record, because it's the best finish for his career.
Okay, thank you very much, and we hope he can do it. Thank you. Thanks.
Jens continuing around the track now at 9.5 kilometres in 11:25.227. He's going pretty quick. Now, in terms of keeping an eye on the lap times, look at the left-hand side of the screen. 17.649 is his last lap time. He's on lap 39, so he's coming up now to complete his 10 kilometres, and we'll get the idea now of what he went through the 10-kilometre point in any moment now. That'll give us the immediate update on how he is doing. He's gone through there in 12:01.336. So let me give you an update as to how he is doing at this point. The split time of Chris Boardman was 12:03.889 in 2000. And we also saw Eddie Merckx in 11:53 at the 10-kilometre point. And Sosenka went through in 12:00.59 at that point in the hour record. So the 10K point, Jens is on the schedule. He's very slightly, I think, outside Sosenka's record, but we'll see as the time continues. We are seeing that in terms of catching up the schedule, because of course his opening lap was 20 just under 24 seconds. Things start to level out now over the next few laps. If he continues under 18-second laps for the entire time, then we will see Jens Voigt break this hour record. And so far he's lapping there 17.646 at lap 44. So he is on schedule right now to be inside or out inside the times of Sosenka, Boardman and Merckx, and he will be on course to try and break this world hour record. But so far he is only coming up really now to that first quarter of an hour mark, the all-important moment, that to about that half an hour point where the concentration really starts to you have to bite in, really focus hard. That's the time when it really starts to tell whether you went out far too early or whether you are riding within yourself. And so far Jens is looking very, very good, don't you think? He is a rider who normally we expect to see really hammering that bike, but he looks very, very smooth on this velodrome, right down on that black line, hugging the pursuiter's line, trying to stay on it, staying out of swinging up the track. He said to me earlier on, it's one thing that he's got to be very, very careful of, is losing his focus, losing his concentration and letting the bike go up the track and therefore lose him some distance. Coming up to the 50 lap point now, and his lap times are slowing just a little bit, so we'll see whether he's decided to just calm things down a little and make sure that those legs don't start to give him too much pain. As we know, his normal statement that everybody knows is shut up legs. Is he going to have to tell them later on, just keep the pain on, just keep the concentration, keep lifting those knees as much as possible? So in terms of how he's doing so far, he's certainly there, he's certainly on schedule, and he's certainly doing very, very well indeed as Jens Voigt continues around the track. There we are in mission control in the track centre as they keep a good eye on exactly what is going on out here on the track. Jens is at 13.5 kilometres so far. He's ahead of schedule and he is riding at the moment an average speed on lap 54 of just over 50.8 kilometres an hour, and his music track is really starting to kick in. Joining me alongside me in the commentary box, a teammate of Jens, a new this year pro with the Trek Factory Racing team. He rode the GER d'Italia this year, finished the GER d'Italia in his first season with the Trek Factory Racing. He's won in his career the Omloop der Kempen. It's great to welcome one of Jens's teammates, Eugenio Alafacci. Good afternoon, good evening, a very warm welcome.
Thanks and good evening everybody. I'm very happy to be here for Jens and for this big event. And I'm sure that he can do, and he can do a very, very big show for all the people are here and all the people that are watching on TV at home.
Now, you've spent the season being a teammate of Jens, but obviously sometimes you don't ride the same races. But were you surprised when he said in the team in May, he said, I'm going to do the hour record? Were you surprised or not surprised?
Yeah, it was a big surprise because everybody know that a lot of journalists also in the team we spoke about the record for Fabian, and we never heard that Jens want to do this. But when they say like this, I was so happy because I think he's the best finish for his career, and he did a very good career, and I think that he can finish with the hour record is the best for him.
The hour record for everyone is it's the pinnacle. It's 1 hour, yourself, and that's it. Nothing else matters. It's extremely hard, so tough to do as a bike rider, isn't it? But we know Jens as a rider who says, shut up legs, it doesn't, it doesn't hurt. But do you think we're going to see him really suffer towards the end, or do you think he'll just take it? Do you think now he's riding within himself and then will accelerate?
Yeah, I think so. I think that for Jens, it's very hard to do this because everybody know when he's in the race and he attack or do something, he go full gas all the time and don't think at that time, speed, nothing. Just push much as possible. And I think for today he needs to control. And what I can see is he stay very good in his time and he control his power, because that's important, because if you arrive in the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes without power, everything is finished. So you need to be careful and stay on time.
The team in the center of the track, or the Czech team, are looking after him, and he's been testing for a long time. They've looked at everything they can do: the bike, the helmet, the skin suit. He's got everything he's allowed within the rules to use, hasn't he? To break the record.
They are here from, I think, 3 weeks, and they had a lot of training of that, and everything is perfect. The bike, the body, and the helmet, everything much higher is possible, and I think you need just to push much as possible and nothing, because everything is perfect.
Yeah, when I had this morning, this afternoon, when I arrived, I had lunch with him, and he was very worried.
He's having a good performance so far.
Going too hard
His heart rate
and pushing
really
it in the
nice,
first half an hour.
Power is actually higher
but
than we've ever
normally
seen
we see Jens fights the
low
bike.
heart rate,
His knees are out and he fights. But he's very smooth,
what kind of
really
data were you
smooth.
reading
Are you
from the computers
surprised?
during the race?
Yeah,
We're
it's
collecting
a big
in real
surprise
time
for
all
me,
the data
because,
coming off the bike and his body, so
when
heart
you
rate,
go in
cadence,
the
power,
bike,
speed, very accurate lap
he's
timing
all
systems.
time left,
We're
right,
analyzing
left,
all that
right.
data
It's
in
never
itself, and
straight
also
on
calculating
his
his
bike.
aerodynamic
Yeah.
drag
But,
as he's
I
going
mean,
through the
I
event, so
think
we can monitor
in
how
these
his
3
position
weeks
is
he
evolving as he gets
he
fatigued.
had a good training
He's
for
done
that,
everything according to plan, or
be
things a bit
much
too fast?
straight as possible.
He's
and,
going a bit faster than planned. You can see
save his
on
power
the pacing,
just for
Daniel out on the track that he's actually at least a lap ahead of his pacing, but his heart rate's really good, so he
I'm
must be
going to ask you
feeling
two
really
more
great out there.
questions.
Okay, thank you. We hope you can continue
Number
like
one,
that.
the
Thank you
record
very
is
much.
49.7 kilometers, set by Sosenka in July 2005. Jens today wants to set the standard that encourages or maybe worries Fabian, Tony Martin, Brad Wiggins, all those, Alex Dowsett, all those riders. What distance do you think he can reasonably do if he breaks the record? Is it going to be 50, 51, 52? What do you think?
I think that he can do 51 and a half.
Okay. The prediction for Eugenio Alavacci is 51.5 kilometers. Is going to be Jens Voigt's distance at the end of this 1 hour. We're coming up to the 20k point. That's a critical point, isn't it?
Yeah.
20 kilometers, 80 laps of the track. Finally, 43 years of age.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
How inspiring is he for you as a young athlete who's ridden with him, who's seen him as a bike rider?
For me, ride like he at 43 here, it's something crazy, because sometimes also when we was in the training camp, he joking with us because he say, hey, I can be your father, not your father, but close, because when he started to be pro, I had I think 3 or 4 here. So thinking that maybe next 15 years I can do our record, for me it's something crazy.
Well, maybe today will inspire you at the end of your career or some other time that you'll be doing the hour record. Eugenio, thank you very much for joining us here in the commentary box. Go and cheer Jens on, give him a big shout, and let's hope that he can now set the hour record.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you
too.
Eugenio Alafacci, great to welcome him here to the commentary box, as he keeps an eye on Jens Voigt. So Jens now is really starting to motor. Let's just update you then. We've been joined by Eugenio Alafacci and we've been joined by Brian Cookson, but we're really now getting into the business of this hour record. Join me on Twitter if you'd like to, @AnMcCrossan, if you would like to send us any goodwill messages, any thoughts, any tweets. But let's update you then on these time splits. So Jens has just gone through the 20-kilometer point of this hour record in 23:39.198. In terms of the hour record, let's run through the splits of Merckx's record in the October 1972. It was 24:07. Chris Boardman's record, October 2000, 24:06.975. And Sosenka's time, 24:03.05. Jens's time, 23:39.198 for the 20-kilometer point. His average speed is looking now up towards the 51-kilometer point. 50.718 is Jens's average speed on lap 85. As we head now into this next few turns around the track, to me it's pretty incredible how he looks. He's very, very smooth. We have not seen any of this fighting of the bike that I particularly expected to see on this this hour record today. He's got the new chrome shoes on that he had specially made for his last outings on the road, and they're looking pretty slick and pretty shiny as he maintains this effort and continues to eat into the times of the other riders that he's looking to beat in this hour record. So let's just update then. 24:07 was Merckx's split. 24:06.975 was Boardman's split at the 20k point. Sosenka's was 24:03.05. Jens's 23:39.198. So the big question now in everyone's minds is Jens on the ride to beat the 51, nearly 51 kilometers, or has Jens gone out too hard? That's always the big question as we get over the half an hour point. Now I'm going to be joined now by Tim van der Jong, who's the press manager of the Trek Factory Racing team, who has been involved in all the preparations up to this point, and of course knows the Trek Factory Racing team very, very well. Tim, welcome to the commentary box.
Thank you, Anthony.
Nice to welcome you here. Now, you looked at me then when I told you the split, 23:39.198 at 20 kilometres. Jens told me earlier that he was going to be averaging somewhere just under the 18-second point per lap. He's been doing that consistently all the way through. But talk me through when you first knew that he was going to go for this hour record, when he surprised you all by saying, I'd like to do that.
Well, I was actually there. We talked about it in May when UCI changed the rules for the hour record and allowed pursuit bikes. I had been preparing a press release about Fabian, and then
Yes.
Jens called me into his room and said, explain to me what actually changed now. And then straight away he saw, like, it's an opportunity of life, he said. I'd like to see my name in that list. And he was like, okay, I really would like to give it a try. And yeah, I mean, it shows for the man he is that he wants to give it a go, I believe.
And how he talked to me earlier on today, he said, no, when he suddenly realised that the rules had changed and it was on a pursuit bike and therefore it was within his reach. Obviously, when we were at the Trek team launch in Roubaix, we were talking to Fabian, although he didn't really want to talk very much about it, about breaking the hour record. So he obviously then had to, and Jens talked about it earlier, had to talk to Fabian and say, I'd like to go for this hour record. Mm-hmm. Was Fabian fine with it straight away?
Well, the nature of the hour record has changed, we have to be honest. For Fabian, it was about competing with history. He was into the traditional position with the hands in the drops, which allowed him basically to compete with Merckx. Now that the rules have changed a little bit and the technology has a better place, for Fabian, I wouldn't say it lost his interest, but it wasn't that romantic anymore. That romantic idea of competing against riders from another generation. This said, for Jens, it's a different story. Jens saw this as an opportunity, just as basically everybody could have given it a go, and Jens is basically the first guy who has the guts to do it and to try it. And it's not going to be a walk in the park, not at all.
No,
it's suffering.
This is not easy at all, is it? Everyone thinks Jens is just going to come out here and he's going to break the hour record. That's it. It's game over. It's going to happen. But as we know, the crowd are getting pretty loud in here as well.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty noisy.
Full house.
This is not an easy record. It's not one of those scenarios where you just go out and you just beat it and it's very, very simple, you know. It's very tough. And we can see now that his time splits are pretty consistent, but they are starting to drag towards the 18-second point. So it's a little bit more difficult for him. So maybe it's just starting to bite a little bit.
Well, we all know Jens. Jens is a very, very enthusiastic man. And we told him beforehand, go easy at the beginning. Not easy, but be a little bit conservative. Don't get too overexcited with the loud music. And he got to select his playlist and people clapping and his family is here. So that was one thing that we kept on reminding him that don't go too fast at the start. I have to be honest, he went pretty fast from the start. Yep. So now I think he can pace it out a little bit now and keep something for the last 20 minutes, given that he's really on a good schedule right now. And we have coaches here and they communicate. We have one person that is allowed to communicate with him. And I think we're telling him to bring it home, basically.
Yeah, bring it home, take it. Just keep the focus, keep the standard going all the time. You talked about all the preparations. Just how much work has this been for Trek and Trek Factory Racing to make this happen?
Well, when we started talking about it in May, Jens thought it would be a thing to come here, bring his father to pump up his tires and just give it a go and just call the UCI so they validate the record if he breaks it. But it's so much more bigger than that. We have, I think, about 20 staff persons here, just from Trek and Trek Factory Racing, plus a lot more other people for the organization of the event. It's huge. It's really huge. It's not only preparation of the bike, preparation of the rider, what I do then, do the press part of it, do the communication. So he's struggling a bit there now.
Yeah, it's going to start to hurt now.
Yeah, yes, I think so too. I don't know if Anthony, you've ever ridden a stationary bike.
Yeah, it starts to hurt.
It starts to hurt, yeah.
It certainly does. I mean, it's interesting seeing how he is now and the fact that he's having to stretch, he's having to get out of the saddle. And if you go back and you look at previous records, you look at Boardman. When Boardman broke the hour records, he had to get out of the saddle. But suddenly your body just starts to really hurt at some point. And the critical point is around about half an hour. And road riders generally, when you actually analyse it, road riders do not actually sit on a bike rigid for 1 hour.
No. They get out of the saddle on climbs. They get out of the saddle in turns. They keep the pedal still in downhills or just to stretch out a little bit. This is torture almost. Your back, he's not going to be able to walk much, I think, in the next couple of days.
No, he certainly isn't. Here's one of the members of the team in the centre.
Yes.
So this is the only person who's allowed to communicate with Jens on this track.
Yes. He communicates with the tablet that you saw, and also there's the system with the whistle. I don't know if you've seen that.
Can't quite hear it in here.
Yeah, that's true. So we have a system with a whistle which allows Jens to hear where he is supposed to be on a schedule for 50.3 kilometers per hour. And it's a reference for him. But you can see he's a little bit ahead of time now.
Yes.
So he's supposed to be at the finish line when the whistle goes. So he's a little bit ahead now.
Okay, right, so we just heard the whistle. If you are hearing that, Tim's explained it. I hadn't really heard it very much, but we knew in the second half it would start to become more important. So the whistle should be blown when he hits the line. You'll hear it in a second. There you go. That's
so
how far ahead
that's
he is.
Ahead of the schedule we had in mind.
Okay.
Basically.
And his schedule that he told me earlier on today is somewhere around about 50.5 kilometres. He's hoping is the schedule that he was comfortable with.
Yes.
If he then ramps it up in the last 10 minutes, then that will be just bonus for him.
Yeah. Well, Jens is maybe the athlete that knows best how to estimate his body. He's been in so many breakaways. Yeah. I was with him in Tour of Colorado when the stage went to Colorado Springs, and where he attacked with 1 hour to go. You didn't know he was.
That's why
he had this in mind, but we were like, okay, he's going to do his hour training now, and he perfectly knows how far from the red zone he is. He knows how to estimate his effort very, very well.
Now, for you then, as we've had Eugenio Alafad, she was here earlier. He's given us a prediction, 51.5K. He thinks Jens will do. You think Jens will do it? And
I think that's very, very optimistic. Jens would be happy with anything over 50. I think 50.5, 50.7, that will be reasonable, I believe.
Okay. Now everyone should join on Twitter if they'd like to. You've got some hashtags going, everything for everyone to get involved over this last 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're inviting everybody to use the hashtag Hour Record and to tweet even to Jens, at the Jensi, and he'll for sure see all the messages once he gets back into his hotel room. You can see that he's suffering more and more now. He needs to change positions a little bit, so it's really taking its toll already.
It is starting to hurt him now. He's having to take his hands off the bars, and do you know, this is starting to get a little bit closer in terms of time splits as to how big his gap is on the record. And I think he's got to keep the hands on the bars, he's got to keep focused, he's got to keep pushing, because the split of Merckx was 36.17, the split of Boardman was 36.18. Jens has gone through in 36.7, I think, for that last split at 30k. So it's got to keep going.
Yeah, he has to keep his focus. One other reason why we use a whistle. Okay, we have the tablet as well, but the whistle is auditive, so he doesn't have to change his position, because we saw even in training, he's not a track rider, he doesn't have the experience of somebody that Bradley Wiggins, for example, will have. But we saw that if he diverts his eyes a little bit and looks at the trainer or whatsoever, you can see that he moves from his line, and the black line is really the line that counts. You don't want to do any extra distance, you won't take it home. I mean, it's not, it doesn't count. So he really needs to stay in that position as long as he can, as much as he can.
Great. Well, as Tim said, give everyone your feedback, your thoughts. Let Jens read them afterwards, because he's going to come off this track and he'll be sitting down for well, he might not be sitting down for a while. He might be like just lying down. I don't know. He won't want to sit down on a saddle for a long time, put it that way. Tim, thanks very much for joining us. It's a fantastic effort. We're now going to focus in on the last 22 and a bit minutes. The crowd are going pretty mad. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
So Jens Voigt now has gone through 31.5k, 37, just coming up now to the 32k mark. As he continues around this track, he's had to just adjust his hand position. He knows it's important to keep that neck and that head tucked in, keep that low frontal area, so he cuts through the air on this specially designed bike that he has had put together. The first test he did was on a road bike, his time trial road bike on the Roubaix Vélodrome, which was back just 2 days before the start of the Criterium de Dauphiné. Then he really got into it. They talked to Fabian, they got the bike designed, and now he is really focused on trying to break this world hour record. He opened up with a record of an opening lap of just under 24 seconds. Since then, he's been under that 18-second mark, which is the mark to beat every single lap. And slowly but surely, he's getting closer to that all-important moment. He needs to beat 199 laps in the 1 hour. Anything above that is a bonus. If he does that, that is a beating of the hour record by 50 meters. Thereafter, everything else puts the record further and further out of sight for the next rider to try and beat sometime in the future. Well, this crowd next to me, all around me, are getting really behind Jens now. Our next point will be the 40-kilometer point. I know, talking at the weekend in preparation for this commentary, I talked to Chris Boardman on Sunday.
We're coming closer to the 40-minute mark.
Actually,
he's doing a great job so
Tour
far.
of Britain that I was at, Chris felt that
now,
Jens
so
would beat the hour record.
But you know what?
He feels
this is going to be the most
Jens
difficult
has
part
got
of the whole evening.
the power to do it, and he was looking forward to seeing what sort of distance Jens did by the end of the hour. But look, he's getting out the saddle again, the same as Boardman had to do in his hour record.
Your mind starts to go. This is a really, really difficult bit. That's
just
what all of the
stretching
people
those
who've ridden
legs a little
this
bit,
record
getting himself
always
back
say
into the saddle, but he's not losing any speed.
How much of an influence will be the crowd, because you can see it cheering him up all day long.
Yeah, he really needs the crowd to get behind him 100% now, and I hope we'll see them standing up and cheering him all the way to the end
in his
of the
warm-up, he had a very specific music track that he had playing.
He had REO
Speedwagon, Keep On Loving You. He followed that with Brian Adams' Summer of '69. Then he moved on to Journey with Wheelers the Sky. Onto Air Supply with Making Love Out of Nothing at All. And then finished it off with Metallica, Turn the Page. That was what we all had during the warm-up, as he just wipes his nose a little bit, gets his hands back onto the handlebars and relaxes again into the effort that he's got to put in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so I've been working with Jens throughout his training, and we have a system that measures in real time all of the data that's being transmitted from his bike. So we have power, speed, cadence, heart rate, and we are analyzing that at the table just across from the start line.
In terms of the analysis so far, we're coming up to 3/4 of the way through this hour record.
Yep.
What is the data telling you so far?
As you can see, his pace is really good. It's actually about a lap and a half above his pacing strategy, so he must be feeling really good out there. For about the first half of the race, we saw that his heart rate was really low, like 160, if not a bit lower. Around the halfway mark, it started climbing slowly but steadily, so he's either feeling a bit fatigued or deciding, hey, I feel good, I'm going to start, putting the pedal to the metal and really going for a really good time.
So what was this when you left, because you've literally just run up here to join us quickly, what was his heart rate when you left?
It was approaching 170.
So
we know he can go significantly higher than that.
Okay. And is kind of the watts he's putting out as you expected, or higher or lower?
His watts are really good. His watts are actually a bit higher than we've been training. At one point, about a quarter of the way through, he was doing well over 400 watt average, which was, really exciting. He's fighting the tendency to go out too hard, so he kind of had to get over that initial excitement and settle into a nice pace. But on top of that power, we can actually calculate his aerodynamic efficiency on the fly. And that's obviously a really important metric for an hour record effort, because 88% of his energy is going towards aerodynamic drag. And so as important as anything, his drag has been even a bit lower than any of his training. So he's really keeping his head down, as you can see, really staying streamlined and small for the win.
It's really noticeable how much he is keeping his frontal area as low as possible. It's something he talked to me about earlier on. He's really focused on it, isn't he?
He has a super impressive position for his size. He's a really tall guy, and he has a drag coefficient that rivals many of the smaller guys on the team. So you can see the top of his head, which is one important physical posture that we look for, is no higher than the top of his back. So his head is completely in front of his body and providing no extra area for the wind to push against.
It's really interesting data, Paul. Fantastic to hear. The most important point is 199, isn't it? That's
Absolutely.
the record.
Yep. And we're hoping that he goes well beyond that.
Okay. Yep. Fantastic. Anything else finally? Any predictions? Anything you think before you run back into the track center?
One other important thing we've noticed is he's really riding the black line really closely. He's really, riding laps that are only 250 meters, because for the record, you only get credit for 250 meters per lap, whether you ride outside the line or right on the line. So that's a really important thing that he's been training over the last month to get really good at riding the track and really comfortable out there. Fantastic.
Yep, you're absolutely right. It's the gauge line, we call it. Around the bottom of the track, it gauges 250 meters, and it's normally within 1/100th of a centimeter. So it's absolutely right, that 250-meter line. He's coming up now.
Oh, wow, he's sprinting.
He's sprinted to try and get up there with 40, coming up to the 40-kilometer point with 47 minutes gone.
Yeah, he's
really
feeling
going,
it.
isn't he?
He's feeling it. I think he's ramping up and he's digging deep, obviously, and the next 10 minutes are going to be super exciting.
They are going to be great. Well, Paul, we're coming up to this 40-kilometer point now, so any moment now we'll get an idea. But thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
One of the analysis engineers there in the track centre, Paul Harder. We'll let you get back to work.
Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. So we're coming up now to the critical point, the 40-kilometer point. I hope you found the bits of interesting stats and everything there on Jens. His heart rate when Paul left, 170 beats per minute, and his watts, he's pushing more watts than they expected. So let's bring you up to date as he hits the 40-kilometer point as to how Jens is doing. He just wobbled a little bit there coming out of the turn 2 on the track. but his laps are getting faster all the time. 17.262 now, and remember 199 is the point. So his time split at 40 kilometres was 47.16.668. So 50.796 kilometres an hour. 165 is the laps. 199 is the critical point for Jens Voigt to beat this hour record. Just to update you then, the time splits at 40 kilometres. Eddie Merckx, 48.32 at 40 kilometres. Chris Boardman, 48.33, 4:02. Sosenka, 48.15.32. Jens Voigt, 47.16.668. So Jens Voigt right now is on schedule to be over 50 kilometres in the 1 hour, and we are counting down now into the last 10 minutes of racing. We are 10 minutes 44 seconds from the end. As we build up to the final part of the hour, now and then I'm going to bring Brian Cookson back in just for a couple of comments, and he's going to sit here and he's going to enjoy it, and he's going to see what sort of distance Jens puts in this hour of the test against the clock, man against the machine. Jens has been suffering a lot in the last 10-15 minutes, but Brian, we're going to bring you in now, and just so far your analysis of what you think, how you've seen this hour record go.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting to see. I think Jens started out reasonably quickly and was obviously gauging his effort pretty well, but I think he has started to suffer in the last few minutes, and I think I've said before that the last 20 minutes are the hardest, so they tell me. I think all of the riders, Merckx, Boardman, Aubrey, all the people who've been for this hour record have said the last 20 minutes are the hardest. So he really is, I think, appreciating the support that he's getting here in the Vélodrome.
This Vélodrome, you can't hear yourself anymore, can you?
It's absolutely brilliant, yeah, and he needs it, I'm sure.
He does. All he's got for company is this one guy that's giving him information, and he has on the inside of the track, you'll see it as we go round, is normally the lap board, but it shows, it just counts down 1 minute, then it goes down 10, goes down 9. So he knows now he's inside the last 10 minutes, and he's covered 173 laps, which means he's now 26 laps from the hour record. That's where he's got to get to. It's a race against time now, isn't it? And this is the time when we see the true mettle of an athlete.
Yeah, you know what I am impressed with as well. I mean, Jens is quite famous for his kind of zigzag style on the road, if you know what I mean. He seems to cover about 10% more than anybody else by virtue of the way that he wobbles his front wheel. But he's keeping pretty good style here this evening, and I'm impressed with that, and I think that's obviously going to help him.
That's what a few of the guests we've had this afternoon this evening have said, that normally we see Jens's knees all over the place. It's fight, 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 fight. Shut up, legs, let's just get on with it. But he is really smooth. I mean, he looks like a good pursuiter here.
He does, and I think he's obviously taking advice from Chris Boardman and other friends and experts who know what they're talking about. And clearly, the integrity of your position and clearly keeping that distance around the track to an absolute minimum is a key part of this effort.
So, Brian, I'm going to let you enjoy this for another couple of minutes. We'll keep focused as Brian's going to keep an eye on the action. Jens is out the saddle now with 177 laps of this effort gone, and he is really starting to ramp things up a little bit as he looks to bring this record home. 199 laps would beat the record by 50 metres. His lap times are now going down towards the 17-second point, which is fantastic to see. So Jens really is starting to push on these pedals now. All these quotes that we know of Jens Voigt over his career, where he's told his legs to shut up. He's given so many fantastic quotes over the last the last few years, and now the crowd are just enjoying seeing this tremendous athlete really put in an exciting effort in this world hour record, the unified UCI record. 49.7 of Ondrej Sosenka, set in 2005 with an opening split of 6 minutes. Jens went through just outside that opening time split, but since then he's just ramped it up and ramped it up. He's now at 45.2 kilometres and he's at lap number 182, and his lap splits are now dropping down towards 17 seconds. Earlier on today, Bobby Julik was in the track, and Bobby said, just critically, got to be under 18 seconds all the time. And he just talked about how Jens wasn't a man for figures, wasn't a man for watts and heart rates and everything else. But over the last few weeks, he has totally transformed that to understand lactate threshold, to understand what the effort is in terms of watts, to understand what he has to do in terms of lap splits. And Bobby is very, very impressed with how he has done. And for the first time now, Brian, we see Jens go under 17 seconds. So wow. He's not slowing down, he's actually speeding up.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Anthony, he's not just going to be telling his legs to shut up at this stage, he's telling every part of his body to shut up, because it's going to be hurting his lungs, his arms, his back, everything's going to be hurting at this stage. What a guy.
It's absolutely incredible how he's doing now. It's fantastic to see the effort. The average speed of each lap is just going up all the time. 50.973 kilometres an hour on lap 186. He needs 13 more laps, and Jens Voigt will be the world hour record holder. The question now is, how far can he put this record out of sight? He said to me earlier he was going for 50.5 kilometres, but this is looking like it could go well outside. Brian, he was looking for 50.5.
Wow.
He's out the saddle sprinting.
Yeah, he's out the saddle there. I'm not sure whether that's a good sign or a bad sign, but it's certainly hurting him, I'm sure. So he's got another 5 minutes or so, and let's see where he's going to go with that. It looks like he's going to be on schedule or ahead of schedule, so but he needs it. This is really hurting him now, I'm sure.
10 laps to go now. 10 laps to go until Jens Voigt beats the world hour record. The crowd are going pretty wild in here as they look now to bring him home. Lap number 190 for Jens Voigt. 9 laps to go. Mexican waves now in the crowd. The atmosphere in here, Brian, is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's brilliant. This is the first time I've been here in the Swiss National Vélodrome. It's a superb building, and the people here are really getting behind Jens now.
It's absolutely great to see. They are going pretty mad as they look to bring Jens Voigt across the line. He has 3.5 minutes coming up now of this 1 hour, and he's at lap number 192. His head's going down towards those bars as he hits 48 kilometres. 49.7 kilometres is the distance that he needs to cover. 199 laps. And now he's just doing what Jens knows. And Brian, that is, get out the saddle, just rip into it and try and break the hour record.
He's fighting it everywhere. Every metre around this track is hurting him now, but he's going for it in typical Jens Voigt style. You've got to admire the man.
You must admit, sitting at home now, I remember when I saw Francesco Moser beat the hour record in the technology era.
Yeah.
And I saw Boardman beat the hour record, and somewhere at home some youngster is watching this and may end up doing this in the future. It's inspirational, isn't it, to see a rider go like this?
It's inspirational to all of us, Anthony. Young, old, middle-aged, whatever. It's a fantastic performance. So great to see a 43-year-old guy still capable of doing this kind of performance. Huge credit to him.
Absolutely. Here he comes now. Jens Voigt is heading round this track. 196 laps of this track have now been completed. 2 minutes 24 seconds to go as he now is heading up towards the mark The mark is 199 laps, and Jens now is really starting to ratchet up this effort. The crowd are absolutely going wild in this velodrome. Mexican waves, cheering, shouting, you can't hear yourself think. In fact, I don't remember any other atmosphere like this other than in the London 2012 Velodrome. Everyone is standing up now. Jens Voigt is coming round. He is going to beat the hour record with 1 minute and 50 seconds to go. Now it's about how far he puts this out of sight. Jens Voigt goes 49.5 in 59, 45, 499. It's counting down now towards this record. Jens Voigt is inside 1.5 minutes. Lap number 200 on the track. What an absolutely supreme performance by Jens. He said to me earlier, I'll do 50.5 kilometres and anything else is going to be a bonus. 1 minute 16 seconds of purgatory left for the man who is 43 years of age, riding for the Czech factory racing. Twice a yellow jersey in the Tour de France, 2 stages in the Tour de France, and a team time trial as well. 1 more minute to go, 60 seconds. How many more laps can Jens Voigt do? He's won the Criterium International 5 times, a professional since 1997. 45 seconds to go, and Jens Voigt is now picking this up more and more. 203 laps are completed so far by Voigt. It is a stunning performance by this man. 204 laps would be an incredible 51 kilometres. Can he do it? He looks like he's going to do the 204 laps. That's 51 kilometres of racing on this track. Voigt now digging deep. He's going to come down, right down to the 15 seconds, 14 inside the last 10 seconds. Jens Voigt is the world hour record holder. 9 seconds to go. The gun will be fired in 3 seconds. 2, 1. It's all over. Jens Voigt has beaten the world hour record. He has done 205 laps. He will now ride round to complete his hour record, and he has done it. Well, by my calculations, and of course there's a little bit of a formula to do, Voigt will have done 51, somewhere over 51.2. There he is, 51.115 kilometres for Jens Voigt in the world hour record. He puts the record of Sosenka out of reach. It's gone now. Jens Voigt, as Tim said earlier on, he wanted to see his name on the list of previous world hour record holders. His good friend from their times in professional teams, Chris Boardman, held the record. He finished his career with the Athletes' Hour. What a day for this man, as he's able to stand just about. He's going to go into the track centre. His team are going to help him, but 51.115 for Voigt of Germany. He looks, those legs now won't ever have to shut up again. He has ended his career with the ultimate record, the blue ribbon event. Thank you very much for joining us for the hour record. Jens Voigt has taken it. So Jens now being congratulated here by everyone in the track centre. 51.115. Of course, it will be ratified by the UCI, but the unified record, bringing everything together. The first rider to go for it is a man who now calls a halt on his career. The fans got completely behind him. They're all on their feet, just cheering this man on. What an absolutely stunning way to end a season, to end a career. All the team are impressed. They've been saying for the last few hours here in the Vélodrome that all the indications were that Jens would beat this world hour record. So the Merckx record, the Boardman record, Sosenka record, of course done on different machines and everything, have now been unified into this world hour record. It gives the likes of Tony Martin, Brad Wiggins, Cancellara, all the other greats of time trialling the standard now to beat, and it's a big standard to beat, 51.115. Don't forget, send your good wishes to @the_Jensi. Give us the hashtag Hour Record. Send him all the congratulations, because now this is the world hour record holder. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Jens Voigt! 51,110. Ein ganz großer Abschied. Sie haben natürlich die Gelegenheit, dann auch noch mitzuhören, was er sagt. Jens Voigt, jetzt geht er zuerst zum Interview bei Eurosport, dann werden wir ihn auch noch ein paar Fragen stellen können. Und dann eben, der Haken ist schon da. Der Haken an der ganzen Geschichte.